You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, YNR viewers. So I want to dig into a possible plot twist coming next week, and it has to do with Kyle Abbott and his dear old dad, Jack Abbott. But more than that, it has to do with Jack trying desperately to help a friend. And I suspect if he does this, his wife may not like it one little bit. This is Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to dig into the offer that Jack makes this week that could enrage his son and possibly also his wife. Let's unpack all that, but please first subscribe if you haven't already. All right, so on Monday's episode, we saw Jack Abbott sneak off to meet with Nikki Newman in her office at Newman Media. She's still hiding from Victor Newman that she is having slip-ups, although, Jack told her over and over, stop hiding from your husband. And he reminded her that secrets and addiction flourish in the dark, but Nikki is not listening. And she made her life so much harder by firing Audra Charles on Monday's episode. I mean, really, Audra did nothing wrong. She comforted Nikki when she was suffering after falling off the wagon because Audra's dad is an alcoholic, so she understands. But Nikki did what addicts often do, and they try and send away people who know their dirty secrets so they can keep their secrets hidden. So after firing Audra, Nikki realizes she screwed up because now she's short-staffed, and Audra was her right-hand woman, and she up and fired her. Claire was her assistant, but now she's in a psych ward. That didn't work out great. So Nikki Newman is not exactly running a tight ship over at Newman Media, and that's on top of the full-time job of fighting a slide back into complete and total alcoholism. So while Nikki was crying to Jack about her crisis at work, he was kind of already making suggestions about how he could help her. He suggested that Nikki bring back Nate Hastings to help her out. And then he suggested Sally Spectra. They've both got experience running Newman Media, but Nikki dismissed both of those suggestions out of hand. And to be fair, I mean, Nate's over at Chancellor Winters after Victor fired him from the main Newman. And Sally's got her own design business that's flourishing, but it seems Jack's not done brainstorming solutions to help Nikki. Jack tells her he has another idea, but needs to figure out some things before he can tell her who he's got in mind. I mean, truthfully, there's not a ton of unemployed people that we know of sitting around Genoa City that are qualified to help at Newman Media. Jack's busy running Jabot, Diane's his co-CEO, Mariah's over working with her mom, Sharon. And of course, Nikki would never let Diane work with her at Newman Media. Summer's busy at Marchetti. Chelsea's over there. Victoria's on a leave of absence to deal with Claire Grace. Nick and Adam are running the Newman Flagship Corporation with their dad, Victor. And Nikki would not think about having Abby Newman to work with her. They're not exactly ladies who lunch together. She's not a fan of the stepdaughter that she got from a stolen sperm. So a little awkward there. So who will Jack suggest should come help Nikki run Newman Media in her hour of need? I suspect it'll be none other than his son, Kyle Abbott. There are some clues in the spoilers for this week that have me thinking this. It's not, just out of thin air. So first, they need somebody who has the flexibility to step outside of their current job just to fill in temporarily. Since Kyle works for Jack at Jabot, he could definitely, take a leave of absence to go help out his ex-stepmother. Nobody would mind. So I'm just wondering if Jack tells Kyle that he wants him to go back to Newman Media just in the short run to give Nikki a hand when she's really struggling to keep running the business just until she gets some more people hired. So the reason I think this is because of spoilers for Tuesday and Wednesday, the 30th and 31st. On Tuesday the 30th, Diane is concerned about Jack going all out to help Nikki. I suspect if Jack were going to suggest that Kyle help out Nikki, that he would run it by Diane first. Diane did already say she has no issue with Jack helping Nikki recover her sobriety, but I think to her this might be too much help, so I think that might be the subject of that one spoiler. And then the Wednesday spoiler for the 31st says Kyle's forced to defend what he does at work. I mean, obviously that's not like how he uses the coffee maker or the copy maker. I think he's defending the importance of his role at Jabot after his dad suggests they can do without him just for a little while until Nikki gets on her feet and hires somebody to replace him. You know, just meant to be a short-term thing. Remember, Kyle Abbott used to work at Newman Media not that long ago. He got a job there from Audra, recall? And he's a pretty safe bet to help out. You know why? Kyle does not want Newman Media for himself. He's not a Newman, nor does he want to take over a Newman business. He's not looking to revive the Abbott-Newman feud. He just wants to be back at Jabot, and he wants that co-CEO job with his dad. But of course, Jack gave Diane Jenkins that job instead. So I suspect Jack might dangle the co-CEO job to Kyle as a reward if he does him this great favor of helping his good friend, Nikki Newman. I just wonder if Jack would take Kyle into his confidence and tell him Nikki fell off the wagon. I don't think so. I suspect he would not violate her privacy like that, so he'll have to explain this in another way. I think Jack could say that Nikki had some issues and, you know, she had to fire Audra, and then kind of touch on that Newman family drama with Claire and Jordan. That's a safe way to explain to Kyle some of why Nikki's so stressed out and needs help. Because that should be pretty common knowledge around Genoa City soon, you know, in a lot of circles. So I do also think Kyle might enjoy taking Audra's job since she just dumped him. You know, that might be an upside to this proposition. If Kyle, you know, takes over as interim CEO or COO at Newman Media, he can rub that right in Audra's face. And to be sure, that would eat her up. It would really bother her, I think. But otherwise, I definitely suspect Kyle wants to stay at Jabot and might be offended if he thinks his dad is just tossing him aside. But this wouldn't be Jack throwing Kyle out. It would be Jack trusting his son to help someone that he cares about deeply. Of course, Diane won't like this. She'll want their boy Kyle to stay right there at Jabot with them. But if Jack promises Kyle something he really wants, the co-CEO job, if he does his dad this solid, then yeah, I think he might do it. We'll see. But those spoilers for Tuesday and Wednesday, as I said, are why I think Jack might appeal to Kyle to go work for Nikki, just short term. No one else that Jack has access to strikes my fancy as somebody who could or would take a short-term gig helping to run Newman Media, but we'll see. Hey, click subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely drop your comments on who you think Jack is going to suggest come over to from Jabot over to Newman Media to help out Nikki, and be sure to come back because I am here talking Y&R with you guys 7 days a week. And as always, it's Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.